Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Going On Daily Live. I'm your host, Becky, here with Luannah, and it is, what day is it even? August 27th
Hey,
already.
everybody.
It looks like a beautiful view for you, as always.
Yeah, it's pretty nice in the city. Yeah, we've got the mountain behind us, and we got the water in front of us.
Oh, wow.
So it's
What,
really
what
kind of
city?
fun to record from here. It's Vancouver,
Oh, in Vancouver.
North
Okay.
Vancouver, actually. Yeah,
Wow. Well,
yeah,
it looks amazing. So,
yeah, it's fun.
well, we've got a really good show today. We are talking about, well, I mean, this sounds dark, but like burial rituals. I saw the topic and I thought it sounded pretty cool. We're also talking about rare body parts or body traits. We talked about this, Chuck and I, on Monday. I didn't get to finish my list, so it's fascinating. We're also talking about the age-old question, how the heck do we make relationships work? I'm sure a lot of people would love the secret to that. So, oh, wow. There's a giant bird. Yeah, Vancouver is so pretty, Sharon. I agree with you. All right. Well, let's dive right into it here with rare body traits. So, had my huge list from last time. I'll just dive right into it. If you have any of these, let me know. Uh, Chuck didn't have really any from our conversation on Monday. Did you know that 10% of people are born with an extra spleen? 10%. That's a
No idea
huge,
about that.
huge. And it says that some people actually are born with 5 extra spleens, plural.
No
But like,
way.
but like, why? Like, what? I don't even really know. Well, I guess the spleen helps with like digestion and stuff, fat breakdown, whatever. But like, why do you need 6 of them? So,
That's
anyway,
interesting because like nature creates everything to adapt to its environment and what it
totally.
needs. So I wonder
Maybe
what
it's these like
genetics are
high
in the
fat
body.
food, just like the South, like like Tennessee, Alabama, maybe down there. There people are born with an extra one.
Wow.
What else here? A thumb joint that bends backwards. Now, I think it's like this, where it like can bend all the way back. Like you and I, not really great, but 25% of people have that. Yeah, I know, pretty big number. This is crazy. Organs born on the opposite side of your body. So the heart would be on the right, your stomach would be on the right, your liver would be on the left. Like, what do you think the number is for that one? It's like a 1 in so
One
many.
in 10?
No, no. 1 in 10,000.
1 in 10,000.
But still, that's pretty high.
Yeah.
Considering there's billions of people on Earth, that's pretty high. And I wonder, like, how that affects your body, how it affects digestion, how it affects sleep, detoxification. Like
Mhm.
that's crazy to me. Okay, this one's weird. Have you ever heard of gleeking? It's
No,
like people that can spit like a like that's the sound.
I've seen that before. I had friends who used to be able to do that when I was a kid, and I was like, "How do they do
Yeah,
that?"
my brother does it. It says that 35% of people can gleek, but only 1% of people can do it on command. So for people, they might just be sitting there and it just like squirts out by accident. A lot of people can do that. But yeah,
Wow.
1% of people, like my brother had this little space in between his teeth and he used to go right through there. So it was this tiny little, it was gross. He was a baseball player. So spitting was like
Mm.
the thing, but I always found it disgusting. What do we
Yeah,
got?
kind of gross for me too.
Oh, this is a cool one. So I'll pull my microphone back here. So a little bump on this part of your ear. So I don't know if you can see right here. I do not have it, but on this little flap here, some people are born
That one.
with this tiny little bump. So basically, it just is like a little dip. And it says that 11% of the population have that. It doesn't say why, what it was meant for, if it's like when all the babies are coming together in utero, if that's just like a seam. Doesn't say.
Wow.
Yeah. There are people in the world that have beautiful eyes, ones that have a color around the pupil and then another color around that. So 2 different colors. 0.5% of the population has that. So if you've ever met anybody like that, they are very, very rare. Speaking of gaps between the teeth, only 9% of people have a gap between their front teeth. I expected that to be way
Wow.
higher.
Wow. Interesting.
What's over Luannah's shoulder?
Here's a seagull. Ron got his seagull. He was saying, I want a seagull to land on my head, but it's not on my head, but it's pretty close.
Oh, that's awesome. He's curious. Wants to know what's up. Okay, here's another cool one. A double crown. So where the hair has two spots where it swirls in two different directions. So most of us have one at the back. Here it goes, I think mine goes this way, but some people have two that go opposite directions. Only 5% of the population has that. Yeah, so these are all very rare traits. Another one, this is gross. Dry earwax. I guess earwax is wet, technically. Dry earwax, 16%. So a pretty big number.
Wow.
Now I wonder.
A lot of that. I didn't know there was a dry earwax and a wet one. I thought it was all wet.
Right. And I'm wondering if that makes, I don't know, like hearing impairment. Like if obviously there's a reason that it's wet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. This one I expected to be super high. The blue eyes, the number of people in the world with blue eyes, only 8%. Yeah. I expected that to be way higher. I mean, that being said, in India and China alone, there's like 2 billion people. Mm-hmm. So majority of those people have dark eyes. But yeah, I don't know. I think I expected it to be way higher because a lot of people that I know have blue eyes. But
yeah, I heard green eyes is 10%.
Oh, really? I have green eyes.
I have green eyes, yeah.
Oh, yeah, nice. It's saying that blue eyes is actually a genetic mutation from one person, supposedly 6,000 to 10,000 years ago in Europe.
Wow.
But aren't all babies born with blue eyes? I thought they were.
They're dark blue usually.
Right. And then so they're supposed to change, but then someone's didn't, and then it just progressed over 10,000 years, maybe?
Wow.
Crazy. How about this? Can you raise one eyebrow independently? I can do that one. Ugh. But I can't do that one. That is 30% of people. So that's actually a pretty high number. This one is kind of similar to the other one with the thumb, but rotating it around your thumb to touch your wrist. Ugh, that's pretty hard. No. Yeah, maybe that way. Only 2% of people can do that.
Yeah, no.
Ron says everyone with blue eyes are technically related. I mean, maybe. Maybe. Have damage. Okay, hold on. Let me say this again. 1 in 10,000 people have damage to the amygdala and don't experience the emotion of fear, even in life-threatening situations. That's crazy. Imagine not experiencing fear at all. Like the stuff that you would do.
Yeah.
And that's high. 1 in 10,000 is high.
That's incredible. And last week I was talking about fear, how the only biological fears we're actually wired with are loud noises and falling.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else is self-created, right? Yeah, but it's interesting that people can be born without fear, without any fear at all.
Or maybe it's after an accident. It just says damage.
Oh, okay.
The amygdala. So, whatever that looks like could be like a traumatic brain injury, could be from birth. Who knows? I mean, a fear like heights, for example. I'm not terribly afraid of heights. Then again, if I went on that, tall building behind you and got to the edge, I don't think I'd be thrilled about it. I think I'd be pretty freaked out. So it keeps us from falling, right? Keeps us from doing something
has
stupid.
A purpose.
Yeah, exactly. The inability to visualize images in the mind, even if you already understand what it looks like, is 4% of the population. So if you said there's a seagull behind me and I go, I know what a seagull is, but in my mind, I can't actually see that seagull. Mm-hmm. That's terrible. I just feel like imagination would be so limited.
Yes. Yeah.
But 4% of the population has that. Here's a very cool one. People that experience merged senses, like seeing colors when hearing music. So this is like a mushroom trip kind of thing, but all the time. 4% of the population has this.
Wow.
Yeah. For color blindness, now I've known lots of people with color blindness over the years. It says 8% of men, but only 0.5% of women are colorblind. And
that's a huge difference.
Yeah, huge difference. And most of them struggle with reds and greens. But I wonder why that huge difference. Like, I wonder what makes it so men are more. And looking back, like all the people that I knew that had it were all men. I don't think I've ever met a woman who has it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, there's something so depressing about it. Like when I hear people talk about color blindness, because I mean, I love seeing colors, right? You go out in nature and you see colors and you're like,
Yeah.
or
It's
like,
like a buffet for the
yeah,
senses. Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Ron says he's slightly colorblind. Really?
Wow.
Interesting. It's probably from staring at your computer screen for too long. Pull out and get some sun, Ron. Finally, the very last one on my list here, people born with webbed toes or fingers is very high, 1 in 3,000 people. So
Wow.
that's a lot. My friend's son actually was born with it, and they had to snip it. But yeah, I mean that's the only person I've ever known. But maybe you don't know people who are because they don't talk about it. They just get it dealt with as a child and
Mm-hmm.
never hear about it again. But I guess just like in development, it's all like that, and then they eventually separate,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they just never separated. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's rare body traits. Very cool list. Some of the ones from last time were also very interesting. So yeah, hope everyone liked that little topic here. Let's go into, before we go into your topic, let's talk about where everybody can find us on socials. So if you're watching us live on any of these right now, you're probably on Kick, YouTube, Rumble at Rhode Island Broadcasting, or Twitch at RI_broadcasting. And with Twitch, you can support the show with bits. With these other shows, you can follow, subscribe, notify, whatever, so that you can follow us live every morning, 8 a.m. Mountain Time, 7 a.m. Pacific Time. If you can't be with us at those times, you can also watch us or listen to us after the fact on Spotify, Red Circle, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio at RI Broadcasting. You can definitely follow us on our socials. You'll probably get little reels or shorts over there. And we are on a ton of different socials. We're on Parler, Gab, MeWe, U42, Odyssey, LinkedIn, TikTok, Space Hey, and then we're also on Patreon at RI Broadcasting. And of course, you can support our Patreon by getting yourself some swag from the show. We're also on X/Twitter at Broadcasting RI. And oh my gosh, we have so many more. We are on Facebook at Going On Daily Morning Show. Make sure you follow us there for sure so that we can start going live from Facebook. And finally, you can support the show on our website at RhodeIslandBroadcasting.net. You can vote for the Hall of Fame for, what is it, the best singer of all time? Okay, the Beatles, Rolling Stones, Bob Dylan, Aretha Franklin, and the Beach Boys. I voted for the Beatles. Not that the other ones are bad or anything, but I just like the Beatles more. And you can also donate on the show up to $10 million. So definitely check out our website that Ron has been working on. Okay, that's a mouthful. Let's talk the key to changing unhealthy habits.
Yeah, I actually made notes for this one because I really wanted to bring a lot through.
Yeah.
I want to bring what I want to use this platform for is to bring meaningful morsels, right? That can give people a helping hand and understanding the dynamics that are often really eluding and confusing, right? So most often when we talk about breaking habits, we often hear the usual advice, start small, stay consistent, replace the habit with something else, celebrate small wins, and all of those things, they are useful and they are part of it. But what I've learned from also learning to break my own habits is that it's not so much about those actions. Those actions are actually really ineffective until we get to the root. Because behind any unhealthy habit, there's either something being soothed, something being hidden, right? Something that is being avoided because it's uncomfortable. So what I found is finding out what is the root of the habit, where does that come from, doing that. He's like, yeah, I agree 100%. Right? So finding out what is the root versus just saying, well, I'm just going to change this habit. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to use willpower alone, right? But willpower.
Well, if you don't get to the root, you're going to replace it for a different habit. That's
exactly. Or you're just going to bounce back to it, right?
Yes.
And there's also habits in thinking and habits in belief.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm going to share one that I had when I was younger that I created, that I didn't discover till I was in my 20s. When I was a young child, my sister, she was in the hospital for a while. She had a really bad horseback riding
Oh
accident.
my gosh.
She was in a coma. She had to learn how to walk, talk, eat, everything all over again.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and the same year my mother had left as well. So my sweet little mind created a lot of stories about myself in that. You know, I'm the problem, I'm unlovable, all kinds of things. But one of the things that I discovered when I started doing more deep reflection in my 20s was I created a belief that if I am sick, I will be loved.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I was traveling through Thailand when I uncovered that, and I was with my boyfriend at the time, and I was starting to feel insecure that he was moving away with his attention towards me.
Mhm.
And then I made up something that I was sick, but it's the first time, and I did that all my life before, but it was the
Mhm.
first time I was aware of it.
Wow.
And I had this habit to do that at the moment that I felt that love was being removed, family, friends, anywhere. I would say, "Oh, I've got a migraine. Oh, I might have a tumor," or I would have, like when I was a kid, seeking for love. That's what we children do when we're lost, right?
Right.
When I was 20, and that dawned on me, like, oh my gosh, my inner little beautiful child self made the equation 1 + 1 = love. And so to break that habit, what I did is I did use willpower, but I understood where it came from. As soon as I understood where it came from, it started to lose its power.
Mm.
So I never did it again.
Wow.
And so, and I would be aware, I would catch it when a part of me wanted to do it. And I like, no, I'm not going to let myself do that because it's not true. And I don't want love that way, really. Right.
Mhm.
That's not how you want to have love in your life. Right.
No.
So that's just an example of a belief that we might have, or a belief. I had a client for a retreat recently, a belief that she's unworthy.
Mhm.
So that's a habit too. And we don't always talk about those kind of habits. We
Right.
talk about the habits in our day-to-day life and everything, but there are internal habits that we have that actually keep us stuck, or wordings, the ways we speak, the way we say things, like, oh, well, you feel this, but it's really, no, I feel this. So there's habits in how we communicate as well. And so I wanted to just share that, it's normal to have these habits because
Right.
we're all going to survive.
Right. It's a defense mechanism or survival tactic.
So there's no judgment or anything. It's just
Yeah.
understanding that whatever unhealthy habit we have, it was created to satiate or nourish or numb
Mhm.
something that's missing inside of us.
Wow.
And when we can take the time to do that deeper dive with curiosity, right? Not with judgment, not with, trying to pick ourselves apart or saying, I want this changed, but like, wow, look at this intelligence of my being at that moment. It created this habit. And because I created that habit, then I can create a new habit now.
Mhm.
So we see, if we created the habit, we can uncreate it and we can recreate a new one by choice and by repetition and by redirection.
Mhm.
Yeah, so those were some of the thoughts that I wanted to share. Awareness is the first true step to that.
Yeah. So I worked with a guy, and before I started there, I was told that he was very overweight and a drug addict, like drinking alcohol, and they ended up sending him to rehab. He came back, he got clean, but obviously he never dealt with the reason why he was overeating or doing drugs and drinking in the first place. So all of a sudden he became like obsessed with the gym, like in that gym nonstop every day, and he got really fit. As that sort of subsided, he then became a sex addict. I kid you not. Like the stuff that he would
Wow.
tell me, and a friend of mine was kind of involved with him briefly, the stuff they found on his computer when they quit, like it was wild. I hadn't talked to this guy in years. I recently just reconnected with him. I couldn't believe how overweight he was again. So it's like, I
Right.
think he's just replacing one thing for the next, for the next, for the next, for the next.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart because he's such a good person. But I'm like, until you deal with the root cause of why
Yes.
you're self-medicating, it's
Yes.
going to be an ongoing battle. It really is.
It is, and the thing is we're wired to avoid pain for survival. Right?
Mhm.
If we're in the wild, we will do everything to avoid pain. And so we still have that mechanism in our psycho-emotional world, but that's actually where we need to lean into it.
Mm-hmm.
We need to find our way to engage it and explore it so we can understand the mechanism. Because once I understand the mechanism, I can change it. But if I don't even understand that there is a mechanism, first off, right, that's playing in the background, puppeteering my emotions and my mind and my thinking, that for me, it's just like, oh, well, that's just me. But no, I didn't start out that way. Right? It's not just me. There's something else in the background. And for me, that's the whole journey of self-development and self-mastery. And it's an exciting journey when you're on it, because then you start discovering all these amazing things and then recreating yourself. And so the habits that bind us can also be the habits that liberate us and deepen us when we engage from a different angle, not just superficial surface level.
It is hard work though. So for people in any sort of personal development, counseling, whatever it is, coaching, it is tough. Like you're going to go into it and you're going to hate it in the beginning. Like very few of us go in and are like, oh, this feels great uncovering the past.
No, we're like, what the did I do?
Yeah, exactly. We buried it for a reason because it hurt at the time and we didn't want to deal with it anymore. So we buried it, and we were all taught to bury it. But it comes out in other ways, like addiction, unhealthy habits, diseases, like cancer, whatever. Eventually it wants to get out of your body. It doesn't want to live there. Your body can't live like that forever.
Yeah, it's not designed to hold that.
No, it's not at all. And I'm learning a lot. My back goes out all the time. I think last week on our show, my back was sore. It still is. And so yesterday, I was doing acupuncture and massage and just like learning about different parts of the spine that hold on to emotion and things like that. And so it was like, why do I keep having this back go out? I'm not super unfit or anything. And my one friend was like, well, maybe you're processing a lot.
Like psychosomatic. Yeah,
exactly. And it's like, can I just live my life without having things from my past come back? And
well, we can once we work it through. Yeah, I was introduced to psychotherapeutic body work when I was in my early 20s, when I had a traumatic situation take place, and it was amazing. That's when I discovered how the emotions are in the body.
Yeah,
that's the foundation of the work I do. I then studied the same modality, but I remember when the practitioner, they were just doing, the massage, and I was in my neuroses because I was really, messed up about something that had happened. And then all of a sudden he touched this spot on my foot, and it was like going in like a movie down a dark tunnel. And then I just started wailing and crying, and I couldn't stop. I'm observing, like, what's happening? And then afterwards, and he shared, he said there was somewhere really, really deep pain.
Yeah.
That it was stored in that area of your foot. And I'm like, how does that work? Right. And so we're so much more than we realize. And again, it's always awareness. For me, everything starts with awareness, just being willing to also self-question, which we don't tend to want to do in our day and age.
Yes.
We all just want to say, this is me, done. Yeah. But nothing in nature is just, this is me, done. Everything in nature is always evolving and growing, and finding a new creative way to become. So that's how that we're designed to change. We're designed to transform. But when we're caught in the survival and have a bad reference point to meeting pain, when we think of meeting pain, we're like, no, I'm not going to survive it. But if we see pain as the portal to possibilities, of healing ourselves, of knowing ourselves, that actually places us in a place of power, then that's when it all changes. And that's when we gain the momentum to actually create the changes that we want to. And I've done this repeatedly. I still have some places I'm still working on. I'm quite cluttered.
It's an ongoing battle. It's a lifetime of battle. And Ron wants to know, why dig it up if it's buried? Because, Ron, it will find its way out of your body in one way or another.
Well, and one typical way that it can find its way out is like, all of a sudden you're triggered and you have a reaction, and you're like, where did that come from? That the situation was not equal to that. And that's when we can say, oh, this is when the lid has been lifted on the steam pot, and oh, what's that? There it is. And then when we investigate it rather than deny it, then that's how we can get into changing these habits that keep us locked inside and heal it. Yeah.
Like, think of it this way, Ron. Like, you've got something that hurt you, some sort of traumatic event. Let's say it was like a horrible breakup. They made you feel really bad. You buried it. I don't think about that anymore. I don't feel anything, whatever. Now it's affecting future relationships. you're now self-medicating by drinking or doing drugs or overeating or shopping or gambling or whatever it is. Your body is like, we want to get better. Like, take a break, figure it
Yeah.
out, let's
Yeah.
learn. And then it's like, oh, it's not okay. Well, now I'm going to be like, I don't know, gallbladder attacks. I'm going to be kidney stones. I'm going to be cancer. I'm going to be
Exactly.
whatever, because you're in that constant state of stress. And
Yeah.
it's like, your body wants to be like whole and perfect. And it knows how to
Yeah.
be that, but we give it crap that it can't handle, and it deals with it in one way or another.
Yeah. It's like we have this thing, oh, my body, it's hurting. Why is it hurting? It's like, well, the question is, well, what have I done that's contributing to the hurt that I don't know? Where do I need to look for that? Right. Yeah. Because
Sure.
otherwise, it comes out somewhere.
Yeah, I know. So like this last time of my back hurting, like I ended up in the hospital this weekend because it was so bad.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it ended up being nothing. Again, they're like muscular. And so I know now, number one, I have to commit to core exercises. I have to. But two, I really have to dig deeper and work on some of the stuff that I've gone through. Even though I'm like, I feel like I'm a good part of the way there, but the back pain keeps coming back. Even when I'm, feeling fit or exercised or whatever, it's still happening, and it's debilitating. And so it's like, again, you have to listen to your body. Like Sharon says, it will come out at the most inappropriate times. Yes, it does. And it's like, I just want to live my life properly, or not easily, but comfortably.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to have to be uncomfortable to get to that point.
Yeah, because our body wants that too. Like you said, it's always in a state of trying to come back into homeostasis.
Yeah.
So when we can see the pains and the things that happen as a feedback, that something needs to change, versus something that's, limiting me, but it's actually something that can expand me and bring me an opportunity to grow, then it all changes. Like Louise Hay, she was diagnosed with cancer. Do you know Louise Hay?
Only through you.
Only through, because I mentioned her before, right, with the affirmations, right? Yeah. So she had cancer and she was given 6 months and she ended up living another 35 years.
Wow.
Because she started exploring the psychosomatics of why did she have the cancer, right? And so she has the book that has, like, I don't know, probably 150 different illnesses.
Wow.
With the psychosomatic correlation and the affirmations for that. So when we can, understand that, wow, we're such powerful creatures, and we created it. So let's uncreate it and recreate something new. And it doesn't have to be, it's hard in the beginning, like anything, right? But we stay consistent. And that's where those other laws of habits come in. Stay consistent, right? Yes. But if I try to stay consistent without getting to that core, I'm just doing surface actions, and I'll never, ever, ever be able to change it.
Totally. Yeah. And two, like I was just thinking while you were talking, like stress is acidic, and disease loves to live in an acidic environment. Exactly. And so the more stress you have in your life, the more undealt with issues you have in your life, it's literally changing the pH inside of your body. Absolutely. And then it's like a breeding ground for diseases to grow there. So
and for inflammation, right? The cortisol and adrenaline, it induces inflammation in the body.
Yeah,
right?
Well, inflammation and acidity equals disease. Like
exactly.
Yeah. This is why when you go through like cancer research or cancer treatment, for example, in like more of a holistic setting, like two of the things I got in Mexico were sodium bicarbonate, so baking soda to alkalize in an IV form, and DMSO, dimethyl sulfoxide, which is an inflammation reducer. And then they were cutting out foods that are known to cause acidity and inflammation. Right. Why? Because those are breeding grounds for diseases.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Anyways, Ron, hopefully that makes sense there. The problem is there's too much, he says. Well,
but the beauty about healing is, I always, you look at it like dominoes. When you get one main piece, it actually ripples to many others. So you don't necessarily need to look at all of them. But when you get like one of the key factors and effects, then we can shift it without too much trouble.
Yes.
So basically, to change your habits, pause and become aware. Becoming self-aware, that's huge, right? Observing how we are. How do we interact? When does it come up? What situations? Even sarcasm, that has an avoidance aspect to it, And then when we want to change it, so you ask, what am I really feeling and needing right now? And then replace it with a nourishing habit, something that will actually rebuild me, rather than suppress what I actually need.
Mm-hmm.
And then just to be patient and very kind, because it's hard. It's not easy to change. It's the hardest thing. It's like going against gravity. When we've had a habit for a lifetime or even just a year, it's hard to change. And so
Totally.
to give ourselves grace, as we plunge along, and we do great for a while, then we fall back, and then we do great for a while. But that is the process of transformation.
Yes.
It is a start and stop. It's a remembering and forgetting. That's what it is. Yeah.
So I've been married twice, and both of my husbands have said that I'm so sarcastic, like almost to the point where I talk down to them. And in my head, I'm like, I'm not even in a bad mood. I'm not being rude, like nothing. That's just what I know. I grew up in a sarcastic house. And so
Yes.
my response to that is instantly sarcasm, facetious, whatever.
Yes.
Both of them have been like, you're acting like this. And my response was always, maybe I'm not mean. Maybe you're too sensitive. But now it's like, okay, like it's both of them saying it and just me defending myself. So it's probably, a pattern.
Common denominator. Mm-hmm.
But it's like and I've said this to my husband, how do I not do something that I've gone my entire life doing because you perceive it as hurtful? Like, this is tough. Like, this is hard work to try and watch what I say. And so, for me, I always like to, make one-liners, be funny, whatever. And it's like, I have to miss out on those opportunities to me that fulfill me doing something funny because it hurts somebody else. So it's been a learning process for sure.
But then it's also like we're going to go into relationships later. And just a piece of that is relationship is about learning to consider the other as well as ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And when we have such a strong individualized world, we don't want to give up our comforts that we've created in our identity. And that is one of the things that gets in the way of a lot of relationships.
Yes.
Right. So finding that balance, or, so when I've had situations like that with my husband too, then I reach out to understand, and then I'm not really going to change who I am, but I'm going to change my delivery.
Right.
Because I love him, and because I don't want, that's not the effect I want.
Fair.
Right. And it's not intended. So then it's more like, then we become more conscious navigators. So we're not limiting and taking the comfort away. We're actually creating more comfort because we're finding a new way to navigate.
Right. So Ron says he wants to know how to change from Cheetos. Okay. A small step would be go to the organic section of the store, buy Cheetos that aren't made with like canola oil or soy oil or preservatives. And then they still taste pretty good, but they're not pure garbage.
Also alkalize your body.
Oh, well.
When you're alkalized, you're not going to crave it anymore, because the thing. I mean, every now and then I love cheesies, so every now and then I'll eat them too, right? Just because it's comfort food sometimes, right? But if we're eating them a lot, then the best thing is to alkalize the body. Apple cider vinegar in the mornings with honey is a good one, right? Or water with salt in it.
Yeah.
To get the right electrolytes, and then your body just won't start craving it anymore. But when it's used to that, and your body sees it as a source of something,
pleasure, usually,
it's going to keep craving it until again we replace it with a more nourishing pleasure, right? Something that's actually going to work well with us rather than harm us.
I'm sure Ron's thinking he didn't come here today for a self-help talk, but you know what, Ron, you're getting it.
Well, he asked. He said he wanted to, so there's the response, right?
Exactly.
So, go on.
No, you go ahead.
I just say, so it's really to remember that we're all designed to be our full authentic self,
right?
And whenever we identify with we find a way to see a habit that really doesn't align with who we are, we can reclaim who we truly are, and then we have the power to change. So it's all about just being our true, authentic, natural self, and then changing the habits becomes less arduous because that goal is stronger. That's the hunger, right?
Yes.
So we want to find the hunger for that change, and then we can change.
I love that. Wow, great segment. So I'm going to transition here just because we only have about 25 minutes left, but I was doing some research yesterday, just on all kinds of different topics. And I came across one about different tribes in the world, and I was learning about their customs, and it was like, it made me think about like how much in a bubble, well, I am for sure, but even like in North America, because it is such like a juvenile culture, like immature culture, meaning we haven't been around that long. But compared to these other practices in the world, I mean, like for us, like if someone dies, for example, what do? We either cremate them or bury them, and we have a funeral. And that's kind of what it is. But I started looking up on different burial rituals around the world.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and it's some of these are wild. Some of them are beautiful, and some of them I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm glad I don't live there. But it's cool to learn, right?
Yeah.
So it really just made me think about how ignorant I am to everything in the world, because I just assumed everyone just buried their people and then that was that. But like not at all the case. So there's something called a sky burial in Tibet, and it's among the Buddhists who believe the value of sending their loved ones' souls towards heaven. So in this ritual, bodies, it's actually gruesome. Bodies are left outside, often cut into pieces for birds or other animals to devour. This serves the dual purpose of eliminating the now empty vessel of the body and allowing the soul to depart, while also embracing the circle of life and giving sustenance to animals.
Yeah, I heard they do that in Tibet. I read about that years ago.
That's something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not my type, but I mean, I guess like the body is gone or the dead, and it's not like they feel what's happening, but like to me it's like, oh my gosh. So there's another ritual called dancing with the dead, and this best describes the burial tradition in Madagascar of the, and I'm going to butcher this, Famadihana. So the Malagasy people open their tombs of their dead every few years, rewrap them in fresh burial clothes. Each time the dead gets a fresh wrapping, they also get a fresh dance near the tomb while music plays all around. Yeah, the ritual, translated as the turning of the bones, is meant to speed up decomposition and push the spirit of the dead toward the afterlife.
Wow.
Yeah. See, so again, to me as a North American, the thought of like seeing that body once it's been buried,
yeah,
no thank you. But they do it, and it's culture, it's tradition, and they're physically touching it and rewrapping it. They have so much respect for their lost ones that they're rewrapping them in fresh cloth. Like that's wild to me.
I almost like when I think of that. So oftentimes when we because we have that very short process of death, we don't really process the loss completely. So it almost seems like that whole way of doing it enables that time to stretch into integration.
Yeah.
Just when I think about that, what would be the the benefit of that psychologically and psycho-emotionally, and that makes sense, and then death is something real. It's not abstract, whereas in our culture it's kind of nobody expects to die, right? Everybody thinks the next moment is guaranteed, but when we get closer to death, we realize, wait a minute, no, every moment is a miracle. So I was reflecting on what you're saying, okay, that's really cool, right? In a way, even though it's kind of gruesome, but
Ron says it's nice, a little creepy. Yeah. So there is a lot of cultures that have water burials, especially Nordic countries. So when I think of like the show Vikings or whatever, that makes sense to me. So basically they lay coffins on top of cliffs face towards the water, or they actually put the like them in the water, whether it's in a boat or a casket or whatever. They were death ships is what it's called, setting them adrift in death ships. So either along the river or out in the ocean, giving the bodies back to the gods or places most valued by the people of that area. So I think on Vikings, they would send them out in ships, or maybe it was Game of Thrones. I can't remember. They would shoot a flaming arrow to it and then light it on fire as well while it's out in the water. But yeah, that's wild to me. This one I like. So this is called the parade. Now it's in India, Varanasi, India. It involves parading the dead through the streets. The bodies are dressed in colors that highlight the virtues of the deceased. So like, for example, red is for purity, yellow for knowledge, in an effort to encourage souls to reach salvation, ending the cycle of reincarnation. Then the bodies are sprinkled with water from the Ganges River and then cremated at the town's main cremation ground. So it's basically like funeral procession, like on display. Like they're dressing them up in their best clothes to honor them, and then they're trying to end, if they believe in reincarnation, end that cycle. Otherwise, it's believed that that person's going to keep coming back as something else. And I guess like ending that cycle is paradise for them. Is that what it is? Like,
it's returning to the wholeness, no longer separation, is what I understand. So that even quantum physics says we're all one. There's a wholeness to everything, and so I think that's what they're seeking to achieve.
Very cool. This one is called the Tower of Silence. So it's from Zoroastrian traditions. They require vultures to keep its ancient burial rituals alive. In that tradition, a dead body is believed to defile everything it touches, including the ground or fire, and they raise the corpse to the sky for vultures to devour, which to them was like their only option. Like if a dead body defiles water or fire, like the only option is put that thing up high and let the vultures eat it. This is also so strange. Bull's urine was used to clean the body before the tools are used to cut off the clothing. However, the tools are also destroyed after because it's so defiling, I guess, to touch it. The corpse is placed atop a tower of silence out of the way of the living who could be affected by it.
Wow.
That's
interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know much about Zoroastrianism, but I don't think I like this death tradition, honestly, this burial ritual.
Yeah, no, it's because it's also death is a cycle part of life, right?
Yes.
So with all respect, but it's hard to grasp
why it would wrap your head around it. Like, this person's dead. Let the vultures get him.
Yeah.
I mean, again, no judgment. It's just a little bit.
Yeah, just interesting. Yeah.
Not for me. This one's ashes to death beads. So countless burial traditions around the world include cremation, as we know. But South Koreans have taken it a step further by turning the ashes of the deceased into beads. These beads have a bit of shine to them, and they come in an array of colors: pink, black, turquoise, whatever. They're placed inside glass vases or in open dishes. The beads then take the center stage in the home, like a decoration.
Honoring, right? Wow.
Yeah, it's more like a decorative choice than a conventional urn. Like when you see an urn on someone's mantle, like, but when it's these beads, like you'd be like, oh wow, those are beautiful, like a thing of marble or something.
Wow.
So it's saying that in a country where space is at a premium and cremation has become the only realistic choice for burying the dead, getting something beautiful out of the process gives loved ones a new tradition to embrace and an heirloom to treasure. That's kind of neat. I kind of like that.
I've seen things advertised where you can turn the ashes of your loved one into a diamond even.
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen that online a few times. Different places are offering that now.
Yeah. I've seen it where you can put it into jewelry, like in a little container type thing, take it with you. We even do stuff like take that loved one's shirt, make it into a teddy bear or a
blanket,
pillow, whatever. My mom had that done with her dad's shirts, and I know it brings her a lot of comfort. I would say, like, on the scale of like burial rituals around the world, that one's pretty like minimal or very like beginner compared to some of these. This is the last one on my list. This comes from the Philippines. So it says that when it comes to the Philippines, there were so many different rituals to choose from that they're just going to list a whole bunch. Again, I'm going to butcher these words. The Tinguian people dress the deceased in their fanciest clothes and sit the body in a chair, often placing a lit cigarette in their mouth. For what purpose? I don't know. The Benguet people blindfold their dead before placing them in chairs, again, at the entrance of the home. Okay. The Cebuano people dress children attending funerals in red to lessen the chance that they will see ghosts. The Sagada region features coffins hung from cliffs, bringing the souls of the dead closer to heaven. That seems to be a common thing. While people in the Savite often entomb the deceased vertically in a hollowed out tree chosen by the person before they died. The diversity of the regions of the Philippines has given rise to a diversity of Filipino burial rituals, which is those some of those are wild. Like I wouldn't want to see my loved one propped up with a cigarette in their mouth. Like that one, I don't love that.
That's interesting. It makes me think of, in First Nations cultures, the smoke is the messenger between the self and the higher
Right.
voices. So I'm wondering if there's like a symbolic
Relation or something.
relationship to that. Yeah, interesting.
Now,
Yeah.
this one that I'm going to say here, it wasn't on the list of this one, but it is what actually got me looking for this. So, the Dani people of Indonesia, so they're in Papua, not Papua New Guinea, but Papua, and they are a tribe there. When loved ones die, they cut off their finger, not the entire finger. They cut off at about here, and so everyone that dies, I think a child, you lose two. And then so a lot of these older people look like this because they've lost a lot of people. Now, the country of Indonesia has banned this, but I mean, this is a cultural tradition that's been going on for many, many, many years. So there are a lot of people that still practice this.
Amazing, all the different ways that we human beings create symbolic experiences to integrate or to process death. I mean, it's phenomenal. All those things you just shared. It's like, wow.
I think it's like what I was reading was saying it's to remind you of the pain of loss.
Yeah, yeah. To not forget the ones that passed or something like that, to keep them alive in yourself or keep them in your awareness. Or
quite honestly, I just think I would rather a picture on my desk or something.
Yeah.
Instead of losing my fingers. But
yeah,
it's very interesting to learn what the world does. You know, they are just people like you and I, but it's so interesting to understand the diversity between cultures. So
yeah, and the human need, which is reflected of how to process and how to keep the spirit alive.
Yeah,
right? That's the root of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is very beautiful when you think about it. They just want to remember people that were loved. I mean, except for the ones that let vultures eat them. But other than that, everyone else just is like trying to send the person into the afterlife in a more meaningful way. So it is very beautiful when you think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, Sharon says, I have 5 siblings. I would lose all the digits on one hand. What happens when you have a large family? Do they start lopping off toes? I don't know. They didn't say. It's a good question. Maybe like their wrist. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah. You better hope you're not the last one to go of your family, I guess. All right. I've been excited for this topic here, your last one. How to make a relationship last?
Yeah.
This age-old question.
Yes, and I was looking online too, it's like just I already had the theme. I thought, let me see what I get online. What do they say online, right? And so love is the most desired experience and state. To feel seen, to feel cherished, to feel witnessed, right? Most songs are written about love. Most movies are written about love, about both the heartbreak and the reconciliation and finding the way to connect. And one of my thoughts and observations were, okay, so we're all seeking to love, but where is the seeking to learn to love? So we're wanting to get, but we haven't yet fully developed even our own capacity to love. And so my observation is that that's what relationship is for.
Yes.
We learn to love together. We learn how to be two completely different universes coexisting in a way that we both become more of who we are rather than less.
Yes. It's like someone wants to be really fit, but you're not eating properly or working out. It's like, how do you get to your end goal without the practice in the meantime?
Exactly. So how can I expect love in my world if I don't yet know how to love even my own self? Right. And so in my 20s, I read a book by an author named Rainer Maria Rilke. Have you heard of him?
No.
Great book, diary, Letters of a Young Poet. I recommend this. Is such a beautiful book about reflecting about self and life and everything. And there was a line in there that grabbed me, and it never left me. He says, in relationship, what's actually happening is we're running together towards each other in our incompleteness, expecting to come complete.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with it, because we are all incomplete. We all have stuff. But if we don't have, again, we don't have the awareness of it, then we are going to be ruled by so many unconscious pulls and triggers that we have no idea about. And so I have a very, very beautiful relationship with my husband. We've had lots of huge triggers, could have broken us many, many times. So it's not like it's smooth. Like Shakespeare said, the path of true love never has run smooth, right? It's like, love is not a smooth path. It's actually the sternest teacher there is, because when we want to love, that means everything that's not of love in us needs to rise to the surface. And it doesn't rise to the surface anywhere more than in an intimate relationship.
Right.
And so it's important to know that, versus, when we meet, we have the honeymoon period, right? And what we're doing in that moment, in those moments, is we're actually truly meeting the authentic self in each other and ourselves. That's really real. But then what happens is that's not just self-sustaining, because there's a lot more parts to us that, as we're together with somebody longer, inevitably will rise to the surface. So I always say that the honeymoon is the preview of possible coming attractions when we survive the landmines of the unconscious mind and triggers together, when we help each other with our wounds, when we hold the space for that to be a part of it, versus thinking, well, you triggered me, that's not okay, right? Or that challenge means it's over. No, challenge means there's something being called into awareness. And when we can see that, and my husband and I, we work in that way together. And so we have our honeymoon still. And our honeymoon still does sometimes get challenged, but because that is life. There's new layers, new levels, like a video game. But because that's the foundation, we both do the self-reflection. We both look at what's my part, and what can I shift and become more aware of, so that I can be all I am, and also generate closeness. So there's a beautiful poem from Hafiz. Are you familiar with Hafiz? He's a Persian poet from, I think, 13th century.
No. And
I read this poem in my 30s, and it never left me. I copied it. I'm going to read it off my screen here. And for me, this is love. This is what helps keep relationships together. So it goes like this. It happens all the time in heaven, and someday it will begin to happen again on earth, that men and women who are married, and men who are lovers, and women who give each other light, will often get down on their knees, and while so tenderly holding their lover's hand, with tears in their eyes, will sincerely speak, saying, "My dear, how can I be more loving to you? How can I be more kind?" So just take a deep breath with that. Right? And this is what we all crave.
Yeah, really.
This is at our nature, and we crave it because it's possible. We don't have imagination or a sense of idea of something if it's not possible. It does exist. But this path requires self-awareness, and it requires us to, look at our habits and patterns that might be getting in the way of being more vulnerable and connected. And those are the past traumas. So these two topics kind of lead into each other.
Yeah.
Right. So when I can be aware of, where didn't I receive love when I was a child? Where am I still craving it? And how do I give that to myself? And so when a trigger comes up with my partner, and I feel he's, distant or something, or I don't understand, then I'll say to him, I'm feeling this. Can you tell me what's happening? And I'm feeling like I need a hug, or I need to be witnessed in this space of vulnerability, old coming up. And so when we can be together with each other in that way, that is when this path of how can I be more loving to you, how can I be more kind, opens, because then we're no longer opponents. What happens in so many relationships is they become opponents.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's a battleground where the worst of us comes out at home and the best is outside, but it should be the reverse.
Right.
The
Yes.
best of us should be happening
Totally.
at home. Right? And so it's an interesting reversal to understand that. And when we have the awareness, okay, I'm entering this relationship, I have a lot of unresolved stuff. So do you. We both do. So it's going to show up sometime.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make an agreement. We're going to hold space. The only time it's not easy to hold space is when I call it the Wendigo wound. So the Wendigo in First Nations teachings was the spirit that can overtake us that makes us go crazy.
Mm.
When we go crazy in a trigger, right? So I call it the Wendigo wound when it ping pongs. If my trigger activates his trigger and then his trigger activates mine, and we did this
Yes.
ping pong, right? And it creates this kind of insanity. But at the root of it, both of us are just longing to be loved and heard and seen.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's at the root of it.
And that's so true.
And so when we can at least acknowledge that it's hurt that's showing up in the table, it's not an intentional harm, it's not, a diminishment, or it's not a manipulation. It's like there's different ways that just hurt is showing up to be healed, because love is there. And love wants to clean out, like homeostasis for the body. Love wants to clean out everything that's not of love, so that we can experience more of it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's deep. And again, like self-development, relationship development is no walk in the park. It's a lot of work. If you want to be in a relationship with someone, you better put in that friggin' work.
Yeah, we have to, because otherwise we're wanting to be skinny, but we're eating, chocolate and chips all day.
Literally.
It's the same thing energetically, emotionally, right? So when we can start seeing that we're always going to attract the person that matches both our authentic self and our shadow self. So if I go into a relationship aware of I have a shadow self, my partner has a shadow self, then I'm more equipped to navigate when these moments arise.
Yes.
But if I'm expecting the honeymoon to just be self-sustaining like a battery that never dies, well, I'm going to be completely disappointed. And I was, because there was a time I thought that too, right? So, and then I'd be like, well, what happened? Where'd the love go? Right? Well, the love is still there as potential, but we got to do the bushwhacking through,
Totally.
inner garden of stuff that's overgrown, right?
Yes. It's so interesting, like hearing you say about like the shadow self and what was the other one?
Our true
self.
Yeah.
Like my husband is identical to my dad, which I was like, I'm never marrying anybody like my dad. Yeah. And yet these two are the same person. Yeah. And because of it, they're like best friends. Yeah. And to me, I'm like, okay, I love my dad so much. I've always craved like to feel loved by my dad, even though we have a great relationship, but I've always craved that. And it manifested itself into poor partner choices over the years. And so to be with somebody like that, feeling that love, it actually fills a lot of things that I was missing before. But it also can be very triggering, because I'm like, can you not act like that, please? So it's very complex, and it is a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work, but also once we start on the path, then it's like our own inner Jumanji game, right? Yeah. And then when we can bring lightness and play into the process, that's really essential, right? Like even science says it takes 1,000 repetitions to learn a new habit, except for when we're learning with fun and playfulness. Then it only takes 14 repetitions.
Oh, wow. That's huge.
That's huge, right? So the role of playfulness and joy, and just having that childlike nature be able to come in with a loving sarcasm, right? A playful sarcasm where we're laughing at ourselves,
like flirting almost.
Where we're able to find the humor in our idiosyncrasies, where we can be easy on each other. Oh, there I go again. There's my dad showing up, right? Or there's this showing up, right? So we can have, again, that grace and kindness to know life is hard. We're constantly meeting challenges and duality. But if we don't at least have a map that says, okay, don't worry, there is a path through. You can find a way. You just have to show up for it step by step by step, right? And what can be daunting with this personal self journey is like we're here and we're seeing here, but there's this huge gap, right? And then we're like, oh my God, how am I going to get there, right? And then sometimes we'll just sort of backpedal a little bit, but then life will bring us another situation where we have to meet that gap, and then we have to find the pieces, the navigation, to be able to reach there, and we can. But it takes effort, it takes hunger, it takes the wanting of it strong enough that it bypasses our protective tendencies and our reactive tendencies, and then we can grow together in love. There's a beautiful quote I heard from a teacher from Malaysia that I once spent time with, and he said this. He said, this is the nature of a happy relationship. This is how it happens. He says, a husband one day went to his wife and said, I was happy before I met you. I'm happy that I am with you. And I will be happy even if we fall apart and I'm without you, because my happiness is mine. It's not your responsibility.
That's awesome.
And that landed in me too. So these are little pieces that made me go on my journey of, well, how do I reach to that more and more? How do I embody that more and more? Because that feels true to me.
Yes.
It's just the truth has a resonance. And so when we have two soul sovereign souls full of stuff, brokenness, mess, and all that stuff, but that are in agreement that, okay, we're going to walk through our own Dante's Inferno together, right? And we're going to meet our shadows and our demons together, and they're inevitable. But here's our path. These are the things we're going to do. And when we end up in a Wendigo, well, let's just separate for a little bit until we come back, right? Take a walk, start breathing. Breath work, again, is always the quickest interruption to a trigger.
Yes.
Right? And then that's how we can start creating and living in our fullness with each other. But if we're always calling the ball and chain, or, oh, the hag, my wife, or all these different things, even though people love each other, but they have these expressions, it's showing that there's something missing. And behind those comments is a longing for deeper connection. And if we can suspend those sarcasms that we've created to survive not having what we want.
Yeah.
Right? And then we can work together with that and say, yeah, you're a sovereign soul, I'm a sovereign soul. We're here with each of our own unique curriculum of learning. And love is one of the biggest schools next to parenting. Totally. Those are like the heavy duty, master's degrees in inner work and self-regulation and everything.
For sure. Right? And I would say probably love is even higher than parenting, because not everybody wants to be a parent, but I think deep down everybody wants to be loved.
Yes.
So, wow. Well, yeah. I love that topic. Like I said before, I can't wait to have you on my show. You and I could talk forever. Unfortunately, we can't keep talking because we are past 9 o'clock. Yeah. But that was awesome. I love learning from you. So thank you for sharing that today.
Thank you.
Make sure you are back with us tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday. We have got Kyle and Ron together. Friday, we are off. Saturday, it is going to be Ira and JP. So stay tuned for all of those shows. Be back 10 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Mountain, 7 a.m. Pacific time on Going On Daily. And don't forget to vote for the Hall of Fame here on our website, RhodeIslandBroadcasting.net. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye. Have a great week.